Western Cape Judge President John Hlophe has called for a Judicial Commission of Inquiry into circumstances which led to an investigation and a subsequent report into his role in an alleged plot to kill his deputy, Patricia Goliath. In a statement issued on Friday by Judge Hlophe's lawyer, Barnabas Xulu, he undertook to participate fully in this Judicial Commission of Inquiry to assist in getting to the bottom of this corrupt attack on him and ultimately on judicial independence. To unpack the story further, I'm now joined by Barnabas Xulu, the attorney representing Western Cape Judge President John Hlophe. Mr. Xulu, good evening and thank you so much for your time tonight. Let's just begin with this judicial inquiry that your client is calling for. What form or shape must it take?
Good evening to you. Sorry, what's your name again?
Bongiwe.
Bongiwe. Thank you, Bongiwe, for having me in your show. The judicial inquiry we are talking about is similar to that of a tribunal that is normally conducted by the Judicial Service Commission. This matter involves a judge. The allegations are made against the judge. It is an incomplete report with a number of inconsistencies, but it is being endorsed by other judges. So which makes it clear that this is a matter that involves the judges. We have Judge Cameroon endorsing the report. You have Judge Goliath herself endorsing the report. So it's important that whilst the other law enforcement agencies like your state security as well as the police are looking into this matter judicially, to maintain the integrity of judicial and the independence of judicial, that you have the tribunal swiftly dealing with these allegations.
Now, Mr. Xulu, you are referring to, if I can use this word, some inconsistencies or flawed in this particular matter. What are some of those?
Well, the flaws are, it is an incomplete report. It calls for further investigations. At the same time, it is receiving credence as if it is a complete report. Towards the end of the report, there is even reservation that if these allegations are found to be untruthful, if there is any flaws in a sense that the truthfulness of it is not properly clarified, our client will even have an avenue of suing for defamation. But the fact of
And you touch on an issue of defamation. Where do you think these allegations could be emanating from?
That's exactly why we need a full public inquiry, which is taking form of a judicial inquiry, because that's where we can deal with the truthfulness. We are not going to entertain this report as truthful as it stands, having our client denying it, that it is not. It is in fact baseless and untruthful. But at the same time, we see in some centers it is receiving this value, which is misleading, highly misleading, and threatening the security of even our client.
And let's talk then about, some of what is in the public domain now, leading to this alleged whistleblower. You are calling him a snitch. You're saying that he has a motive for lying. What could be this motive?
The motive is stated in the report that he wanted a bail to be granted.
And let's talk to another matter, because your client, of course, here, at the matter at hand has been this long protracted battle between your client and his deputy. It certainly does look like things are not getting any better. What do you think is the impact of this public battle between the two on the work of the Western Cape High Court?
More reason why there has to be a quick and swift kind of reaction from the Judicial Service Commission, which is dealing with this matter, because we can get to the bottom of all these insinuations, innuendos that have been made. Clearly, you can see here that whatever that you know it from the media, and it is one-sided. It's a one-sided narrative, which is always putting our client in a bad light compared to the deputy.
Mr. Xulu, you know, that in itself, when you look at what your client has said, there is, of course, in the public domain, an admission by him that he may have been angry when making some unsavory remarks to his deputy. Does he not take any responsibility for how this has played out?
You've said this has been a very long and protracted kind of dispute. Which one are you referring to? I mean, there are numbers.
Let's talk about the recording. Let's talk about the recording where, you know, at first he was saying that he's disputing it. I can't repeat what, you know, some of the recording says because I'm on national television. But he then says that, you know, in the office when they were having that argument where he was recorded, and subsequently when that recording was then brought to the fore, he then says that he may have made those remarks, you know, angry because they were having an argument. So what I'm asking is that, is he not taking responsibility partly for how this battle has really, you know, played out, one, between the two of them?
Well, clearly you have not listened to the recording, or we have never even read the transcript of the recording. In the recording, there's nothing like that. In fact, it is the DJP who was making those allegations that you called me on this and such a date, and client never responded to those. So it is not correct. Again, that's where you are misleading the public as if our client recanted when he was.
But I'm not saying that your client has recanted. What the Chief Justice has said is that your client, in fact, has said that he may have been angry when he made those remarks. Are you saying that the Chief Justice erred here?
Well, the Chief Justice, what the public is not even aware of is that ruling is being appealed. Two, there is a complaint against the Chief Justice in his involvement in this whole saga. When he sat on the matter, we have a serious issue about his independence when he was hearing that matter. His ex parte secret meeting with someone who was supposed to be in court adjudicating justice without reporting, not even to a colleague, the reason of being absent, was serious issues there. With the Chief Justice here making a ruling when there are these investigations taking place, and he says nothing about them. We only see, because we're looking at the timeline, when the report by the inspectorate is coming out, that in fact, in the background, these are the kind of investigations that were happening, and client was not aware. So I'm not going to start now answering or on behalf of client saying anything related to the Chief Justice, to the Honorable Chief Justice, about his extent of involvement in this matter. And I think that is where, again, the judicial inquiry is going to nap on it as to what exactly is his involvement, because he is clearly now a witness in this matter.
And Mr. Xulu, if I can maybe just ask you also this. When you talk to your client, of course, you know, there's a lot that you then are able to get out of him. How does he think things got to this point?
About what?
Between him and his deputy. What does he say is really at the heart of what is going on? Let's put the complaints that have been ventilated in the affidavits aside, but let's look at their relationship. What does he say has led to this degeneration that we then saw in the public?
Well, the best person to answer that is the person who laid the complaint, which has not been dealt with. That's the best person to answer that question. Our client is carrying out his duties as the Judge President of the Western Cape, uninterrupted, and I believe even the deputy is also doing the same. But the matter, obviously, because it has now been referred to Judicial Service Commission, they have to carry out their duties as well as the constitutional body.
Could there ever be a time when they work together and smoke the peace pipe?
Our client has never had any problem. He just said, you do your work, I do my work.
It's certainly...
And knows exactly the parameters, what he's supposed to do as a Judge President. But interestingly, there is a side which is taken about what goes into the public.
And I think tonight what we're trying to do is to also get the side of your client so that we get to understand in his own version what really does he believe is behind all of this. Because as much as they can both continue to do their jobs, the court is divided in itself, and it does look like in the public domain they could never even be reconciled or even work together. What does he think in his own version, so that we get to understand as the public, what does he think is behind all of this?
Yeah, but our client is, whatever allegations that he has made against the DJP stands by them. The resistance is from those who are supposed to be investigating those allegations, which is seems not to be taking place, but it is the other way around. Only the allegations that are made by DJP that are receiving attention, and even the fact that they have to be investigated. Our client does not have any objection to have any of the allegations investigated. In fact, both allegations properly investigated. Not the dilly-dally and the having your likes of media companies pursuing one-sided. Let's have all these things dealt with as soon as possible, because it's not helping the situation as it stands. As you say now, the court is divided. The court has been divided for I don't know how many years for that matter. But in order to deal with what is before the Judicial Commission, just have the tribunal and deal with these issues.
Mr. Xulu,
now, the more you delay, the more you don't solve the problem.
Mr. Xulu, thank you so much for your time tonight. That is, of course, the attorney for the Judge President in the Western Cape High Court, John Hlophe.